Hello and welcome to GTO Coach and Go. I'm Jim Delleman with Group Travel Odyssey, and I want to welcome you back if you've joined us before. If you have not joined us before, welcome for the first time. But I do always like to remind everybody, if you've not done so yet, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can do that by hitting the little subscribe button down here. And also, if you ring the bell, it will notify you anytime we have new content on our YouTube page. You can also follow us on LinkedIn at Group Travel Odyssey, and we have a new Facebook page, so you can like us on Facebook at Group Travel Odyssey as well. Well, today we've got a lot of information to share, as we always do. And to help share this information, we're going to bring on our lead navigator, Keith Snowd. So let me add Keith here. Hi, Keith. How you doing?
Hey, Jim. Hey, everybody. How are you?
Doing
Great.
well.
Happy Tuesday.
Tuesday. I know. All the twos we could possibly have.
That's
are
right.
happening today. So
Let's hope this isn't the terrible twos.
Well, with us, it might be. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
Today, we're going to be going over some recent updates that we did to the cost sheet. We're going to be talking a little bit about the working itinerary and also the final itinerary in the GTO system. So,
correct.
There's a lot of information to share. So I'm going to go ahead and let Keith get started with that. Keith?
Great. Well, starting with the cost sheet, I want to start with a philosophy. And it's we've always been about full transparency in GTO. We want to make sure that everybody understands how we're doing the math, how we put things together, so that it's really clear for you to be able to do your budgeting and your forecasting and everything that you need to do on your end. So the new cost sheet is designed to give you a really great picture of everything that you have put into a proposal and how the math is done. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to jump into a test proposal that we have. And you'll see the proposal screen. You're all very used to the screen now. It's really easy to find the cost sheet button because it's under the tab that says full proposal cost sheet. So it's pretty easy. If you scroll down right there at the left, it says go to cost sheet, and there's a button there that says cost sheet. If you click on that button, it's going to take you into a page that you can just scroll down. It's really designed and laid out for ease of use. The first section is all the products you have in the tour, your meals, your shows, your museums, your, meals, itinerary product, which is a meal you don't know what you're going to have yet, but you wanted to budget for it. You've got over here on this side, you've got some of your miscellaneous costs you've added. You've got your motor coach. You've got your hotel rooms. And remember, this is the cost for your TD and driver room, your tour director and driver rooms, your airfare, your tour director. So you can kind of see, what the per person costs are for each one of those individual items. And as you scroll down, you come to the next section, which is your tour director and motor coach. This gives you some visibility on the total cost you have put in there. Now, this is the per person at the top. This is this cost divided by the number of people in your tour up the top. So we have $900 on this tour put in for our tour director, and we have $4,800 budgeted for our motor coach. Okay. If I scroll down a little further, I can see the hotel costs, and I can see my cost. My room price is $190 a night, which is a great rate for New York City, by the way, at 14.75%. And then I can see that based on the occupancy, what the cost is per person. So for quad, for this tour, they would be paying $109.01 for a quad room. So that would mean that each of the four people in that room are going to pay that amount of money. Then over here on the side, I can see what our total costs we have budgeted for a driver room, $436.05, and a tour director room, $436.05. If I scroll on down, I see my airfare. I have budgeted at $350 per person, which is a total cost of $16,100. Okay. And then I start to see my calculations. So I can see here that my margin that I've selected on this tour is 18%. I don't have any per person admin fees, but I have a 2% admin fee, and I'm going to charge a 5% margin on airline because it's different. So I can see that my total per person cost for tour director is $20.45. My ground transportation cost, remember, $109.09. That was up there at the top, $109.09 right there. Okay. my trip products total of that whole top section, $315.52. Okay, that's everything but these two items. So just so we're aware of how that number comes into play, this number is the top subtracting this one, and it gives me everything else that is a trip product. My comp costs. So I've obviously put some comp tours in. Obviously, we know that not everybody provides a complimentary package when we go to a restaurant or a attraction. So this puts that cost in here. Then I can see that I've selected quad, triple, double, and single on this tour to be shown to my customer. So it shows me my hotel costs for quad, triple, double, and single. Now, if you look at this, you're like, wait, Keith, you told me it was 10, what did I say? It was 109.01. Why does it say 128.83? That's because if you take 109.01 and you add in $19.82, guess what you get? 128.83. So that is your hotel cost per person, which includes your motor coach and your tour director room, and then the room for the person that's actually purchasing the package. Okay. Same thing here for triple, same for double, same for single. It comes up with this total quad expense, triple expense, double, single expense for margin. This is what that 18% is going to be charged against. So you're going to put 18% on top of this number. The 5% is going to be on top of this number. So my total expense is 626 plus 350, 976. Okay. Total expense per person, 1012. Okay. So that's when I get down to the bottom, and there's that 2% admin fee per person. There's my margin per person. And now remember, I put in 18%, but $350 of that, this airfare, is only being charged 5% margin, which means that my resulting margin on this trip is only 14.07% for a quad package, because of the fact that I have a very large chunk of that expense that's only getting charged a 5% margin. But that comes up to my selling price of $11.51 quad. Okay. So that really, and you can see how it goes down the columns here for triple, double, and single. It does the same math all the way down so that you can see how you come to that final price. Now, here's the best part about this system. For anybody who's an admin of your company, you have the ability to use this revenue, expense, and profit modeling. You can hit this Edit Cost Sheet button. It will open up the page for you in edit mode, and you can actually edit the number of quad. So it tells you on this trip, we have 44 paying participants. Okay. So now let's say I know this is an adult group, and I can say that I know that 38 of those are going to be in double. And then I'm going to have, out of that 44, I'm going to have 6. Let's say I'm going to have 3 in triple. I'm going to make this 40. I'm going to have 1 in single. Nobody's in quad. So what it has done is it's taken all of these numbers up at the top, and it enables me to model this trip out so that I can see that if that's how my trip breaks down, I'm going to have $56,628 in revenue. I'm going to have $47,739 in expenses. I'm going to collect an admin fee of $662, and I'm going to have a profit of $8,227 for this trip. I can save this, I can change it, I can do whatever I want with it, but it enables me to use these numbers to kind of model out how things are going to go. So that's for the admins of each company. Once I hit save and close, it's going to take me back out to this page on my proposal, but I can go into that cost sheet anytime I want. And this is the one time in our system that I'm going to tell you that if you just come in here to look at your cost sheet, to look at your bottom that you've already, this revenue, expense, and profit modeling, and you've looked at it, you can actually use the back key and it'll take you back to the proposal. So it's that simple. That's the cost sheet. So, if you have questions about the cost sheet, anybody on the team can help you. You just send in a help desk request, help@gtonetwork.com. Make sure you put help in the subject line and just ask about the cost sheet. Any questions you have there, you can screenshot it. You can send us a link, a hyperlink to the cost sheet that you're looking at and say, I don't understand this number. We're happy to explain it to you. So that's the cost sheet. Jim, do you have any thoughts that I missed about the cost sheet?
Well, I don't know if I have any thoughts. One of the things that I do like to share, though, is a lot of the updates and a lot of the information that we have put on this cost sheet, this updated cost sheet, has been because of the feedback we've received. So, as you've been using the system and you come up with ideas, or you come up with, there are things you'd like to see. A lot of people have been putting in help desk requests, or even emailing us or calling us to say, is there any way that you can get it to do this? Or is there any way that it can show this for us? Don't hesitate to do that. Make sure you keep doing that, because this is kind of the result of something like that. We will go in and we take a look at all of that information you give to us, and we can make changes sometimes. There are other times when things have to go through these big development pipelines, just because there are certain things that are easy to tweak, and then there are other things that have to be developed through this whole process. So, but don't let that stop you. Make sure you keep giving us that information so we can go ahead and make adjustments like we have with this. Right now, this is a much more dynamic cost sheet, and at a glance, it gives you much more of what you need to see when you are working on this trip.
And to Jim's point, that whole cost sheet came about because of feedback from about 4 different companies.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just one company; it was a confluence of information from 4 different companies that turned out that product. So keep that feedback coming, because it's
Yes.
very important for us to deliver you the right products.
And also
Oh,
with feedback and stuff like that, I'm sorry, with
go ahead.
feedback and things like that, that also reminds me, there are places that you guys can have an exchange together. Any of our GTO users, if you're in the GTO system, go to the community forum, because there's a place in the community forum where you can post things, and you can post ideas, you can post questions, and any other user that's on the GTO system can go in there and answer those questions, which is great for use of the system. It's also great if you're searching out new information for maybe a new itinerary, or you're going to a location you've not been to before and you want to kind of pick somebody else's brain about what they would recommend or what they would want you to steer clear of. So, head into that community forum. It's in your apps on your GTO homepage. So make sure you go in there and you can click on community forum and start participating. That's a good place for you to put information in and find out if there are other people who are using the system differently than you, or if they have suggestions about things as well. So don't be afraid to use that.
And there's also announcements there.
Yeah.
So make sure that you look at the announcements. One reminder when you're in here, if you click those 3 dots at the top of each little section, you can see this says expand widget. You can make it bigger for those of us who are blind. It will actually open it up so that you can read it and not have to squint like we all have to do. So, okay.
I still do.
So, shall we move on to the trip manager
Let's
side of things?
let's move
We're
on.
going to stay in this trip since we're
Okay.
so good at looking at the Delman test account. We're going to stay at this trip and head to trip manager. Okay. Now, notice I navigated very seamlessly. I'm back in the proposal. I hit that trip manager button, and off I go. Now, the reason I want to talk to you about the working itinerary and the final itinerary and all these things is because I want you to understand the flow of Trip Manager. And if you follow the process, everything becomes infinitely easier. So, and the why I say that is because the first step of the process that you see when you open up is obviously you have to update your passenger numbers. It asks you to do that. You do that. Then the next step you really should get to is this proposed itinerary. Okay. What comes over to you from sales is this. You see this column says budgeted time of day, budgeted date. And that's the columns here. There's your budgeted date and budgeted time of day. That's what comes over from sales. Okay. It's really easy for you to update this. And it's really important that this be the first thing you do, because you have to request these bookings from the suppliers. So you need to assign a time to them. But there's one more big reason why it helps you. If you put in on this page your requested start date and start time, you don't even have to do the end. You can do the start date, start time, okay? When you put those in, it actually starts building your working itinerary. And I'll get to that in a second. But I want to show you right now what I mean. If I jump to the working itinerary, you'll see I have some things at the top that I have not completed on this trip. They're not on the itinerary because there's no requested time in there. Once I put a requested time in, and we're going to do that here, you're going to watch those 5 things. What is it? Five things that you see at the top of that itinerary are going to go down into the itinerary really fast. The best way to do this proposed itinerary when you're on the proposed itinerary tab is to go to this little corner up on the left. It's called Grid Edit. When you click on Grid Edit, it takes you into this chart, and it's the same one you were looking at, except everything is editable. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to my first budgeted date and time, and I'm going to teach you a little trick. If I click on this once and then I drag it down to that other Friday, February thing, and I hit copy, and then I come over here and I hit paste, look what it does. It fills it in. And I don't have to go in and type those dates in because I'm not going to, I'm going to scroll up just a bit here. Hold on. Because I'm not going to change the dates that sales put in there. Now it opens up this little warning. It says the data you're pasting comes from a different field. Is this what you want to do? In this case, the answer is yes. Okay. So I can just continue to scroll down. I can copy. I can paste. Yep, that's what I want to do. Okay. Once I've got a Sunday in there, the other thing I can do is if I'm just doing Sunday, I can actually come over here. I can pull down on that one. I can go fill down. So now I've got all my dates filled in. Okay. If I wanted to, I could actually go and do it this way. I can copy this if I wanted to put in the end dates because the end dates are going to be the same. It's really quite simple. You don't have to take a lot of time to do it. You notice I click through it pretty fast. Once you get used to it, it's pretty great. And then I can go in here and I can say, okay, so this is Friday. I know that this is the day the group arrives because I can see that by the fact that they're not getting in until that evening. Okay, right up here. So what I want to do is I want to start putting in when do I want them to go to dinner. So they're going to arrive around 6 p.m. So I'm going to say 6 p.m. Now I'm a military time guy. 1800 is 6 p.m. I don't put in p.m. a.m. but you can actually go in and go 6 p.m. and you can put that in too. Okay. Any way you want to put it. Okay. You don't have to put the dots if you do military time. So that's why I do that. You can call it a lazy. It's just I'm like to save keystrokes. Okay, they're going to do a show that night, so I'm going to put that at 8:00. Okay, the next day is breakfast, and they're going to go to MoMA. So I'm going to just do that. I'm going to request. They're going to be at the hotel, so we're just going to request breakfast at 8 a.m. and they'll go to MoMA when it opens at 10. Okay, and then that day they have dinner on their own. Okay, so we'll just put that at 6 p.m. again. Obviously, that day they're going to the Statue of Liberty in the afternoon. So I'm just going to put that for 1 o'clock. Okay. And on Saturday, this is for lunch on their own. See, I made my own mistake. There we go. And then dinner that night, back at 6 p.m. And they're going to go to the Empire State Building that night. So we can do that again at 8:00. Next day, we're going to do breakfast at 8:00. We're going to do the morning free time to explore. I'm throwing a time in there just because I wanted to have it in there. They're going to do lunch at the Intrepid, and they're going to do the afternoon at the Intrepid, and that's their day. I don't have to put product end times in, but the nice thing about this is, watch when I save it. Now, when I go over to this working itinerary, notice that I only have 3 things left. So I've assigned, so these were obviously added after sales did their gig. So these are new things that I've added to this trip in Trip Manager. But you can see that before I had the Museum of Modern Art up there, and now it's in the itinerary because I put a requested time. It's in that working itinerary. And you saw before I had dinner Puglia, okay? You saw before I had lunch at your own expense. It's now in the itinerary. So these things are in the itinerary now because I've put those requested times in. And the best part about it is now that I'm done with this, I can scroll down to the bottom and I can make that tab totally disappear because I don't need it anymore. I've put in those requested times. I can start working on my bookings, okay? And I can just start using these buttons to request things. So if I go into that Museum of Modern Art to request the booking, guess what? That requested time's already filled out for me. So from a process standpoint, that first step of creating that proposed itinerary is critical to making everything else easier as you go through the system. So that's why it's so important. When I put then my final itinerary times on, as I start to fill in my final itinerary times, this is the magic of the working itinerary. This is where the rubber meets the road. You'll notice on here that there's a column that says date confirmed. So what the working itinerary does for you is it says, if you have not confirmed the booking, use the requested date and time. But if you have confirmed it, use the final date and time. So it automatically updates for you as you work on the itinerary and as you make the bookings. Because you'll see on this, I've made the booking with the Hilton Garden Inn Times Square. I've made the booking with the Empire State Building. So this is the time. Remember, I put it on my proposed as 8 o'clock. It says 8:30 now because that's when I was able to book it. So it automatically updates these things for you as you go through. So it really is a working itinerary. It also puts it in this condensed form so I can see, for example, let's say I booked that at 6. I'd be able to see instantly. I'd have 2 things at 6 o'clock. I'd see that I have a problem here. And if I saw that I had requested Puglia, but not confirmed it yet at 6, and I confirmed this at 6, I would go back to Puglia right away and say, hey, can I move that to 4? Or I might go to the Empire State Building and say, hey, can we do it later? But it gives me this view right here of where my problems are from what I've requested to what I've actually booked. So it's all on one screen. Then, obviously, when I move to my final itinerary, this is all based off of the final itinerary date and time that you put on each product. So it's really quite simple, but I wanted to show you how that process works so that everybody has a full understanding of why it is so important to set up that proposed itinerary, the first and foremost thing you do. Because when you do that, you set yourself up for success in the rest of that planning process. So, Jim.
That's really great. If you can go back to the product lineup in trip products. One thing I wanted to mention, even when you get rid of that proposed itinerary, you can bring it back. There's a little blue button right there. Don't worry. Don't freak out if all of a sudden that tab goes away and you're like, now what do I do? You can always bring it back. That blue button that is on that list of trip products, it's towards the very top of it, will allow you to bring that back again should you need to go into it. But if you don't need to, then by all means, just work off of that trip products page. And again, that's where you can go in and request your bookings. You can confirm them. You can go back and reconfirm. You can give them final numbers, everything. You can kind of live operationally in that list right there until everything is completed.
Yep. And the working itinerary really is designed to kind of be the space that between your trip tasks, and your working itinerary, that's where you live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are put at the front here. These 4 tabs: trip products, trip tasks, and working itinerary. They're all put here because that's really where you're going to spend most of your time.
Absolutely.
You know, as I start to put things together, I want to check to see how my itinerary is looking. I can jump over here. And I know everybody's like, well, why can't it all be on one page? Here's the reason why. I have got a huge screen you're looking at right now, and you want to see the money stuff. You want to see the dates you requested it. You want to see all of those things. You'd be scrolling back and forth and up and down so many times your head would spin.
Yeah.
This way, you just flip between it and you look. Okay, it is. You can do it a million different ways. We could put it with a bunch of columns on one page, but I also believe that your eyes can only focus on so much at once.
Right.
And when I look at the screen, I can digest everything. When I look at this screen, I can digest everything. But if I have columns that span all the way across the page, it's really hard to digest all of that at once. So we really try to stick to things that we can keep on one screen. That's the whole idea. So that's why you have those two tabs. And it's really important, though, to make sure that the first thing you do is set yourself up for success and assign those dates and times. And again, like I said, you don't have to assign the end date. I mean, if it's all happening on Saturday, February 19th, you know it's happening on February, you only need to assign things that obviously are overnight things that you know are not ending until the next day.
Right.
But the field's there in case you want to use it. But set yourself up for success. Get that filled out right away. Think through what you want your itinerary to look like, and then start working your magic. And that's what you need to do. So,
and it's really nice because it is a departure from where we have been over these past several weeks in Sales Manager. At this point in Trip Manager is when operations is taking over. They're going through and they're creating this experience for their group. And so that this is where everything gets ordered. This is where the itinerary times and dates get finalized. It's where you have your complete flow, like your run of show for your trip on this working and final itinerary. So it's there for you. And all you have to do, like Keith said, just spend a little bit of time at that beginning with that proposed itinerary, and it really saves the amount of time that you'll spend in each trip product as well. So it's a really fun system once you start working your way around it, and it becomes second nature once you start clicking around.
Well, and the other side of that too is, it not only sets you up for that itinerary, but this is a great example with MoMA. When I come into this, I see that Carly's my contact. I see that I want to request that day. I see my numbers are correct, everything like that. All I have to do then is request this by email. And I don't know why my button's not there. I apologize. There's a button right here that says request via email, and it will create that email for you. And I don't see it. I do apologize for that little glitch. Anyway, it sits right here. You can hit that button and it will create an email for you. And then you'll be able to send it with all of this information already in it. So if you did that proposed itinerary, again, there's more keystrokes you're saving.
Right.
Because of the fact that you're literally just going to hit that button and send that out to Carly. And it's going to come from your email. And it has your requested date and time right in it. So it's pretty simple.
Yep.
So that, there's lots of reasons why, if you follow the flow, it really will save you time and make things more efficient for you, but you've got to follow the flow. I was actually working on a sample trip the other day, and it was great because I got to the point where so much of it was done as we were working through it. I was able to see how far over and under budget I was because of that trip products page, and I had kept it updated. And so I was able to look over here and I was like, wow, yeah, that cost more money. That was less, but I'm actually still ahead on my budget. So It was really great. So, and then I was able to go to the working itinerary and go, yep, everything lines up. So I created a working itinerary. So and again, you can create that client working itinerary right at the top, just like you can create the final itinerary.
Mm-hmm.
Really easy to do. So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
That's my update for the day.
Well, thank you so much for that. It's a lot of information. And as we always tell people, if you have questions on it, please don't hesitate to contact any of us at Group Travel Odyssey. We'll be more than happy to walk you through these processes or to help you, walk through them yourselves. We truly believe on hands-on training. So, if there's something that you just need us to take you step by step through, contact one of us and we'll be more than happy to show you how this all works. Just a couple reminders. We have recently moved our Coach and Go day and time. So we are now having Coach and Go every Tuesday at 2 p.m. So Tuesdays at 2 are for Coach and Go. And people may wonder why this is happening. Well, this week, this Thursday, we're launching a brand new media live stream, which is called Destination Dispatch. And before we go any further, let me show you just a quick little video about what's coming up.
There's no better education than getting out and seeing the world.
The experiences are what you're going to remember in the long run.
Getting out to see the world has just really opened my eyes to a lot of things.
I know a little bit about a lot of random things, and that's because of travel.
We're going to learn so much more and stay up to date with these destinations.
It's going to help us get even better at building group itineraries.
I'm really looking forward to having great conversations about places.
So excellent. Destination Dispatch premieres on Thursday at 2 p.m. And this week we have Sabrina from Mackinac City that's going to be joining us. What we're going to be doing is Keith, myself, Stevie G, we're going to be presenting some really fantastic group destinations. And we're going to get updates and information from the experts there from those destinations to let us know why they're so special for groups. So make sure to join us live on Thursday at 2 p.m. for Destination Dispatch. This will be our first. And so every Tuesday we have Coach and Go. Every Thursday we have Destination Dispatch. We're busy.
We're having our first destination is the first destination I tour directed.
Ooh.
As the tour director. That was a few years ago. We'll just leave that alone.
Keith and I have been in the industry for more than a few years, but you know.
Let's just put it this: if we put our numbers together, we could celebrate a golden anniversary.
Oh my gosh,
or plus.
It would be frightening to kind of realize exactly what.
Yeah, absolutely. But please join us on Thursday. Sabrina's going to be great. Mackinac City is an amazing destination and really wonderful for groups. There's so much to do in Northern Michigan, and it isn't cold all the time.
Very true. Very true. Well, Keith, thank you so much for joining us today and taking us through all these processes in Group Travel Odyssey. And for the rest of you, we want to thank you for joining in today. And again, if you need to get in touch with us, please make sure to reach out. You can reach out through the website. You can email us. You can contact us anyway. And we'll be more than happy to discuss this with you. So thank you for joining us and have a fantastic week.
Thanks, everybody.